Hey everyone, this is Baby B.
And I'm Daddy D.
And welcome back to our channel. Today we're actually going to be talking about the brief history of Christmas. It is the holiday season and, Christians have kind of taken Christmas as like their thing, as like the birth of Jesus and everything, but it's actually got kind of a really interesting history. So we're going to start out with paganism. Daddy D, what's paganism?
Paganism is pretty much a belief in any non-standard religious practice or nothing that's really widespread. So if you can imagine Jewish, Christian, Muslim beliefs, Buddhism, those are kind of widespread beliefs all across the world that a lot of people know about. Pagan ones are anything that don't abide by those rules.
So basically, treat it like it's non-denominational. It doesn't have a specific worship or anything. It's more of actual celebration for given the times of what's happening in the year. So the two most notable pagan winter holidays were either Germanic or Roman. And let's start out with the Romans. We'll talk about Saturnalia. Saturnalia was a time when everybody kind of got wild, they let loose, and people tell each other off, they trade gifts, and basically you could do whatever they want.
Right, this is very much a time of celebration. It started a lot at the end of the year near the solstice, which was the darkest night of the year, when the sun was all the way south in the sky, and this was kind of the end of the harvest, the celebration that, hey, we made it through another year, let's get ready to do this again, and this was one last hurrah for them to move into the next year.
So, after that, we're gonna head towards Yule and Yuletide. That's kind of more the Germanic and the Scandinavian celebrations, and they celebrated the wild hunt for their god Odin. This is kind of an Anglo-Saxon type of period, and it starts in like mid-November and goes into mid-January, and they had different things like the Yule Log, which is really common for us to see as a symbol during Christmas because, everybody's around the fire because it's cold, but what's the Yule Log about, Daddy D?
So the Yule Log was burned near the end of the year, and it was pretty much a good luck charm that was used to ward off evil spirits and any bad juju that you may have encountered through the year. After they would burn a piece of it, they would put it under their bed in order to ward off evil spirits.
Awesome. Next was the Yule Goat. You know how people like their goats? It actually came from the representation of the Norse god Thor, who rode in the sky in a chariot drawn by two goats.
Next we have the Yule Boar, which was what they ate at the feast. So every year they would slaughter a boar or pig, and then they would use that as the main feasting element in all of their celebrations.
Yeah, think about like your Christmas ham and how delicious it looks under the glistening lights in your living room or your dining room.
Alright, next was the wassailing, which there's a Christmas song about it called Here We Come A-Wassailing, and this comes from people singing to the trees to promote a good harvest for the coming year.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like this. Here we come, wassailing along the leaves so green. And every time that they sang this, it was kind of, again, for the fertility, for the harvest. And it's kind of translated into Yuletide caroling.
But do not forget though, this was definitely a time of celebration, and during this time of year, people were definitely intoxicated while they were doing their singing.
So the carolers would go to their neighbors and celebrate their good health. Go home, get drunk, and sing, and then the next day, of course, have hangovers. But, everything was prepared with hot mulled cider spiked with alcohol.
Or it was fermented. Alright, so next we have Saint Nicholas, or as now he's known, Santa Claus. Saint Nicholas was, as evidenced by his name, a saint in the church, and he was known for his gift giving and had 3 daughters apparently, and presented all 3 of them with dowries so they weren't forced into a life of prostitution. He was a very generous man and took care of his kin and common man.
In the Norse mythology, Sinterklaas is a Dutch figure, and Odin is a Norse god that Santa resembles. And it wasn't just Santa who did the gift giving. There were also legends of other types of people, like La Befana, which is an Italian woman who leaves treats for the children on the good list. And in Germany, there was Frau Holle, who treats women during the solstice. So very, very nice to see that women and children were taken care of during this time as well.
Alright, so next we have a fruitcake, which I'm sure many of you have at least heard of, if not tried, during the holiday seasons. And even though people aren't usually very excited about this, it does have a long-standing tradition in different cultures regarding cakes made of fruit.
It actually came across from ancient Egypt, where they had really dense types of breads that were studded with fruits, and they would leave them with honey in the tombs of their deceased loved ones so that they had something to eat in the afterworld.
Romans did similar things by making cakes out of fruit and taking them into battle, which were usually made of pomegranates and barley.
And the Christians went into the Crusades with honey cakes. I kind of want to try some of that.
Alright, so next we have mistletoe, which was definitely considered a magical plant, particularly in Europe. Druids and Vikings hold significance with it regarding dispelling evil spirits. Native American cultures kind of believe the same thing. It's not even a modern thing of Christmas. Romans used it in fertility rituals, but it's prominent throughout history in times of peace and prosperity. They used it with the Vikings for negotiating after laying down their weapons during battles, and Druids thought it could protect them from thunder and lightning.
But be really careful, because in real life, mistletoe is really poisonous, and there's a very nice assortment of plastic types of mistletoe that you can purchase at your local craft store, or make it out of paper and fabric to keep all of your, children and your pets safe from harm. Next up, we've got wreaths. We know that everybody likes to decorate their doors with wreaths, but actually this came from the Romans. You know how in the Olympics, everybody who won was crowned with a laurel? Well, that laurel has translated into, later on, holly, ivy, and evergreen. And each one holds a different type of meaning. Egyptians didn't really have evergreens, so they used palm fronds to celebrate the winter solstice.
Christians love holly because the red berries relate to the blood of Christ, and pointed leaves represent the crown of thorns. But the advent of holly decor was long before Christianity. Pre-Christian pagan groups believed that the holly king battled with an oak king, and once again, with many other things on this list, they thought it could dispel evil spirits.
So, as you can see, a lot of these traditions were really from ancient times, but they have evolved over time to create something that has become accustomed to many different parts of the world. No matter where you are, there's always some gift giving, there's always some trees. Some people try to sit around the fire and tell stories. People dress up sometimes or stay in their comfy clothes, but regardless of what you do, what you believe in, just know that this is the time of year to stay safe, warm, cozy with everybody that you love, and to try to bring, some prosperity and good feelings into the new year.
So definitely the end of the year is a time that's traditionally meant for gathering of people, and one of the newer traditions of this was the Christmas tree, which we now use to, when we celebrate our gift giving, we gather them all under this tree, decorated with ornaments and different decorations passed down from family and friends, which progress through the years.
Or new ones that we make and DIY while we are at home. But regardless, the same thing has happened as it has since the first tree, like this photo or this illustration has depicted, which is the first Christmas tree in Britain. It is a time to kind of just don't think about yourself only, just to think about everybody else around you and who means what to you, and you get them a gift to show your appreciation, because it doesn't have to be anyone's birthday. So what if it's Jesus' birthday? So what if it's your birthday? This is a time where everybody counts, everybody kind of makes a stand in your life, and you kind of give them something because you appreciate them.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us on this brief history of Christmas journey that we just went on. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe if you'd like to see more of our videos.
Comment below if you're doing something fun, or tell us a secret if you've gifted somebody close to you something that you really liked. I kind of like to give Daddy D presents that I also will enjoy, but you could keep that a secret between you and me. Have you been on the good list, or do you think you're on the naughty list? Also comment below, and we will see you next time. We make videos every week.
If you'd like more of our content, please follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and stay tuned here for more videos.
We also do a lot of memes, so if you like memes, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.